Okay, we're going to do a few more quick examples. I wanted to just kind of remind you that inverse trig functions are also written as arc trig functions. So arc cosine is the same thing as, the inverse cosine of, radical 3 over 2. Okay, and remember, they are simply asking you, inverse trig functions are simply asking you, what angle would I have to be at in order to get this fraction here? What angle would I have to be at in order to get this ratio? Okay, so again, you do have some restrictions. Your cosine is restricted to 0 to pi, same thing as secant. And remember, we do ultimately, secant it doesn't exist here, because if you did secant is 1 over x, and if you did 1 over 0, wouldn't work there. Be undefined. And then remember, your sine and your tangent are restricted from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. And so ultimately, ultimately, you're only allowed to be in the right hemisphere. And I think I forgot to remind you guys in the last video that, if you get an answer, like say this was the arc sine of negative radical 3 over 2. Well, this is your negative radical 3 over 2. And a lot of us would want to just go and immediately grab the 300. And you know what? I think I'll go ahead and do that in a few minutes. I'll come back to it. Just a couple other things. Remember that inverse tangent is undefined at negative 90 and positive 90. So you're not actually allowed to use those, but anything else in between is fine. Okay, so real quick, let's go through 4, 5, and 6 because they won't take long, and then I'll write another example so that you'll see it. Arc cosine of radical 3 over 2. So I'm really just looking for where x is radical 3 over 2, and I've got it right here. Now again, you have the value here, but it is negative, and you don't want the negative. So the answer to that is literally just 30 or pi over 6. Okay. Arc sine radical 2 over 2. So we are looking in the right hemisphere, and we want a y value of radical 2 over 2. And again, you got it right here. Down here in this quadrant, in quadrant 4, it is negative, so it's not going to work. So you are just looking for 45 degrees, or pi over 4. And then arc tangent of 1. Remember, tangent is y over x, and so you're looking for basically the x and the y have to have the same value. And the only spots that the x and the y have the same value are at your pi's over 4. Right, so pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, and 7 pi over 4, but the only place that it's really going to be positive is either up here or down here, because they both have the same sign. But remember, you're not allowed to be there for tangent. So this one is also pi over 4, oopsies, pi over 4 or 45 degrees. Okay. All right, now real quick, I'm going to write another example. So let's say we wanted arc sine or inverse sine of, what did I say earlier? Oh, negative radical 3 over 2. Okay? Again, it's still asking the same question that we've been asking. Where is our y value? Negative radical 3 over 2. So here is where we've got it. And you can't just write a 300, because remember what I talked about in class, we have to stay on the right side, which means we are not allowed to pass over this barrier. You're not allowed to rotate through it. So when you write your angle, remember the trick was to write the actual angle that it would have been if you were allowed to rotate. Okay, so it would have been 300, but subtract 360, so the angle is actually negative 60 degrees. And again, to do radians, you do 5 pi over 3. Now technically you're going to subtract 2, so you just do 5/3 minus 2 in your calculator, and it's just a negative pi over 3. Okay?